Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. The region is billed as the most expensive to access a healthy diet. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Friday, 27th January 2023. Details when we return.
Hubbard's Multi-Department Mount Gay and Hubbard's Tire Bay, located at the Building Supplies Compound in Grand Anse, are reminding the motoring public that another round for licensing and inspection has begun. Just arrived on new shipments of quality furrowed and torque tires to fit all makes and models of vehicles at competitive pricing. Shop early to avoid the hassle of long lines. WhatsApp them on 473-405-5482. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
Welcome back. President of the St. Lucia Diabetes and Hypertension Association, Dr. Kedma Dor, says the high cost of a healthy diet puts St. Lucia and other regional states in a precarious situation and is contributing further to the high incidence of non-communicable diseases. She was responding to a new United Nations report that found that the Caribbean has the highest cost of access to a healthy diet compared to the rest of the world. Zane Romulus of the DBS News World reports.
52% of the Caribbean population cannot afford to buy the foods necessary to consume enough calories each day while gaining the recommended nutrition. Furthermore, the region has been found to be the most expensive for accessing a healthy diet. That's according to a UN report. Panorama 22 is a regional overview of food security and nutrition in Latin America and the Caribbean. The document analyzes the cost of healthy diets. The report also reveals that the rise in international food prices experienced since 2020 have increased the difficulties for people to access a healthy diet. This is not good news, especially for a region which is also reported to have a high incidence of non-communicable diseases. President of the St. Lucia Diabetes and Hypertension Association, Dr. Kedma Dor, notes that a healthy diet together with proper exercise is key to maintaining optimal health. With healthy foods being inaccessible to such a large percentage of the general population, this places the future of a country like St. Lucia at risk.
The eradication of hunger and poverty being the Sustainable Development Goals is directly related to this study. So if we really want to secure a healthier future, a better workforce, we need to take this serious. And the International Diabetes Federation, has predicted by 2030, 1 in 9 persons will be affected or living with diabetes.
The report presented a clear relationship between the inability to afford a healthy diet and such variables as a country's income level, the incidence of poverty, and the level of inequality.
We really need to take a sit back and assess ourselves. So figure out, how did we get to this point? What is really our shortcomings? What is our strengths? What are our weaknesses? Identify, opportunities and threats that exist for us to move forward. So I would say if we could just first gather the data to figure out what's going on, what's wrong, why is it that the food is limited or inaccessible by some due to finances, and let's see how we can fix that.
The Food and Agriculture Organization has said that no individual policy can solve this problem independently, and that national and regional coordination mechanisms need to be strengthened to respond to the situation. For the DBS News World, I am Zane Romulus.
The United States has granted approval to Trinidad and Tobago to develop the Dragon gas field located in Venezuelan waters. The announcement was made by the Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, on Tuesday, who noted that this was as a result of the request from Trinidad and Tobago and followed several discussions with high-ranking officials in the U.S. in 2022. TTT News has more.
It essentially means that Trinidad and Tobago can resume business related to the field following the easing of the restrictions. But Dr. Rowley noted that these arrangements with Venezuela are yet to be finalized.
What this means is that the restrictions on the Dragon gas field development is now relieved, and all relevant parties can progress the plans to result in natural gas from Venezuela eventually flowing for the first time from these proven reserves to Trinidad and Tobago, and then on to Caribbean, European, and other markets, bringing much humanitarian benefits to the Venezuelan population and greater energy security to the Caribbean region.
Dr. Rowley added that the highest hurdle has now been crossed and believes it is a win for all those in CARICOM, noting that energy security will benefit the Caribbean greatly.
We'll be going full speed ahead to get it to market at the earliest opportunity. It's not going to be tomorrow. It's not going to be 2023, but because there's a lot of work to be done, a lot of lead time, engineering work to be done. While the field is a proven field, there'll be some wells to be drilled and so on. So all of that will come into play, but we are on the right path.
The Prime Minister noted that Shell would be the operator of the Dragon gas field and may involve PDVSA to some extent.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Over the weekend, the Prime Minister put the country on alert that there will be tough days ahead. Economist Dr. Indira Sajawan says Dr. Rowley is a little late on the announcement. TV6's Nicole M. Romney reports.
Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley also told the crowd gathered at the PNM's 67th anniversary celebrations that Trinidad and Tobago may only have enough oil and gas for the next 10 to 12 years, and he warned citizens that they will have to adjust. Today, Dr. Sajawan says the signs were there all along.
I want to say that it would appear that our Prime Minister, who has run this country now for a term and a half, well over 7 years, got this memo way later than many of us. It is decades now that people like myself have been cautioning that Trinidad and Tobago needs to restructure itself, needs to redefine a future that is based not so much on oil and gas, but that is based on non-energy forms of production.
She says this prediction of doom and gloom is bad for business.
It will send some very negative signals throughout the economy. It will say to the business community, this is not a good place to invest in. If we are looking at hard times, it means that people will be possibly losing jobs, people will not have spending power. And that sends a signal to business that this is not a good place to invest.
Dr. Sajawan believes that more focus should be placed on technology and solar energy.
There's only an incentive for a household to be able to use a solar panel in order to heat water or a water heater. I am saying let us do it now in order to electrify our homes. That will allow us to start the process of developing the technical capacity to be able to support such an industry. And maybe over time, we think about moving more and more up that value chain.
Nicole M. Romney, TV6 News.
The Bahamas' Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Public Service comments on Prime Minister Davis's address to CELAC. More in this ZNS News item.
Well, Haiti featured high in Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis's address at the opening session of the Heads of Summit meeting of CELAC in Buenos Aires, Argentina today. At the onset, Davis charging that island's crisis is getting worse, a situation that continues to pose a substantial threat not only to Haitians, but to the Bahamas and other neighboring countries, all of whom are experiencing a significant increase in irregular and often dangerous migration. This weekend's apprehension of hundreds, the most recent case in point. Now, the Prime Minister is hopeful, though, that with the support and leadership of Haiti, CELAC, along with other regional organizations, will help Haitians build a path out of crisis. Enhanced regional partnership, he says, can especially help scale up capacity building for the local police, tackle trafficking, particularly in people, contraband, and guns. Strongly backing those comments, Foreign Affairs Minister, the Honorable Fred Mitchell.
The Prime Minister wants the world to know that we are trying to keep on top of this problem, and it's unfortunate that certain people in the domestic theater are trying to use this to whip up hysteria over a problem which can be effectively managed by international cooperation and also by the Department of Immigration and the law enforcement officers, including the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, doing their work. And he made that point here to all of the parties who would listen, which is migration is an issue. We have to help Haiti to resolve the problem, but our domestic forces are at work defeating the problem of irregular migration, returning those who should not be in the Bahamas home. And we need the support of the international community to do that.
In a statement released on Tuesday, it has been revealed that the temporary manager assigned to SSL, following news of widespread fraud at the entity, has confirmed that the athletic legend Usain Bolt had an account at the firm in the form of an LLC. Nika Lewis of CVM Live reports.
Confirmation that Bolt had established an account at SSL under an LLC in 2012 has left many questioning what really happened with the athlete's money and whether this was a one-person job. On Monday, former SSL CEO Zachary Harding told the media that during his tenure between 2019 and 2022, he was never aware of the athlete having an account or being affiliated with a company's account there. One source close to the matter reliably informed CVM Live that accounts that exceed a certain threshold in terms of funds, including the largest clients, would often be reported about at the chief executive's level. However, if no mention was made of Bolt's name or if the account didn't reach the threshold of a high-value client, it's possible for the CEOs to not be aware. Of note, back in 2012, when the account was allegedly set up at the entity, the CEO was Mark Croskery, who steered the company as president and CEO from 2007 until his resignation in March 2018. Croskery, the son of Hugh Croskery, SSL's co-founder, now operates his own firm and admits to having no contact with SSL's management or directors since his departure. Though he didn't deny knowledge of the athlete's account in a statement Monday, he did deny knowledge of any fraudulent activities at the entity, adding that the unfolding fraud matter has nothing to do with him. Jamaican athletic icon Usain Bolt had his lawyers write to SSL demanding reimbursement of over $12 million allegedly fleeced from his account. However, some critics have questioned if Bolt had this LLC established, who were its shareholders? Who were the directors? Where was the WellGen account? And who were the signatories? Other questions yet to be answered: when and how much was transferred to which accounts? What investments were actually made? And if withdrawals were made, how were they made? By whom and which account were they paid to? Again, the plot thickens, revealing more questions than answers. Nika Lewis, CVM Live.
Hubbard's is once again innovating the way you shop with its new online store, providing 24-hour shopping convenience. You can shop now for appliances, hardware, houseware, building material, and more. Free delivery island-wide. Start shopping now at hubbardshardware.gd. Safe, convenient, reliable.
I am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.